Welcome to the Virtual College Exploration for all Illinois students, sponsored by the Illinois Association for College Admission Counseling and StriveScan. Thank you for joining us. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule at IACAC.org. This presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at that same website, IACAC.org. Now I'd like to turn it over to our presenters.
Awesome, thank you. Hi everybody out there. My name is Becca Thomas and I'm an admissions team lead at Columbus College of Art and Design in Columbus, Ohio. And I'm presenting today with my colleague Morgan. If you want to say a quick hello, Morgan, and introduce yourself.
Hi everybody. So again, my name is Morgan Carver. I'm one of the senior admissions counselors at Columbus College of Art and Design, and we're excited to chat with you here today.
Sweet. So I'll go ahead and share my screen here and then we can get started. Hopefully everyone can see that okay. So as I mentioned, we are located in Columbus, Ohio, and we're going to chat a little bit today about career options related to the art and design majors that we offer. We'll talk a little bit about the application process and how to navigate financial aid. And so if you hear anything that interests you today, we will get your information later, but this is the fastest way to just kind of connect with us. If you hold up your camera to the QR code, that'll take you to our website. And there's just a quick little questionnaire that helps us gather some contact info for you, and we'll follow up with other relevant info as well. All this info is on our website too, so if you don't have a chance to grab that QR code, definitely check out our website. So some quick facts about us. We are one of the oldest art and design schools in the country at 141 years old. So we've been doing this art school thing for quite a while. And the great part about that is we have a really big alumni network that is ready to help you with your next steps after graduating. We also are on the small side, about 1,100 students. So the good part about that is your class sizes will be relatively small, about 12 to 15 students, and you'll have the opportunity to get direct assistance from your professors, build a really nice community with your classmates. There's no big lecture halls that you're going to get lost in. It's really just an opportunity for you to build a network within your classes. Additionally, our student body is pretty diverse. We have students representing 37 different states and 22 different countries. So students travel from all over the world to join us here in Columbus, Ohio. At CCAD, our curriculum are Bachelor of Fine Arts degrees. So we have 11 different majors that you can see here. And what makes a BFA a little bit different from a more traditional university is going to be the amount of time that you get to spend doing art and design. So about 2/3 of your curriculum will be art and design based, and then 1/3 will be liberal arts classes. So you do have to take math, science, social sciences, things that are really going to help you become a well-rounded artist, but they are taught with art students in mind. So your English class, you might have to write a paper on who the favorite artist in your major is, or something else tying back to the art and design world. And in addition to majoring in these degrees, you can also do them as a minor or take one of the other minors listed here as well. So you can really kind of customize your experience. So it's pretty common to do two things that might seem kind of unrelated. You could be a fashion design major and an art therapy minor. There's so many ways to connect all of those fields that you might not even expect. And most students do about one major and one minor in their 4 years at CCAD. Some students choose not to do any minors. They just pick different electives to kind of fill out their schedule in addition to their major. But our hope is that you really kind of customize the experience that is important to you. And I think you'll find that a lot of these majors do a lot of cross-disciplinary projects as well. So as we kind of work our way through this presentation, we're going to talk about how some of our majors can kind of group together based on the type of work that you'll do. So really at its core, we want you to think about what kind of work do you want to create every single day. And for this next section, I'm going to pass it off to Morgan to share a little bit about our first couple majors.
All right, thank you so much, Becca. So for those of you who are interested in bringing original characters to life, shaping a narrative, and maybe even inventing an entire new world, this first grouping of majors is going to be for you. So this will include our major choices of animation, comics and narrative practice, game art and design, as well as illustration. And in these programs, you'll have access to top-of-the-line technology, tools, and studio spaces. One of the coolest things we have on campus is actually our stop motion lab, which has 14 individual workstations, each with its own camera as well as lighting equipment. This is the only facility of its kind in the United States, and it dedicates a specific stop motion space for you to work alongside your peers and your professor. So we'll go ahead to the next slide, if you will, Becca. All of these projects featured on this page are actually student works done right in our own CCAD classes. So we will be sure to provide some links for you to the digital copy of our viewbook, and there you can find some more examples of CCAD student work alongside some of these social media handles. So as you can see on the screen in front of you, we have some examples here from our animation lab production class. To the middle, you'll see some comic book illustration work. And then on the right-hand side, you're going to see some 3D illustration from one of our students as well. Now, learning opportunities like these, on to the next slide, are one of the ways that CCAD helps students gain the skills that they need to be whatever they want to be. So we have alumni that have graduated and become award-winning illustrators, prototypers, and even concept artists. Our students capitalize on the many different types of opportunities, both before and after graduation. Now, some have developed resources for NASA, while other students may have made art for the rock stars or produced Pixar movies like Onward. So in one of the stories I'm going to share with you, you can see some work here for the I Am Enough. It's a book and set of illustrations by one of our alumni, Katura Bobo. She was a fine arts major from 2006. And Katura, she focused on illustrating stories of hope that feature children with a range of voices, backgrounds, as well as different abilities. She worked with the Empire actress Grace Byers to illustrate the New York Times bestseller, I Am Enough. This is an ode to the empowerment of young girls and continues to work as an independent painter and illustrator today. Now, here are two more examples of CCAD students that were able to take what they've learned about design and put it to the test. So we have on the left-hand side there, we have Shea Beagle, a recent graduate from CCAD, who expanded upon a comic originally made for our Spitball Anthology class. Shea ended up selling their comic idea to Image Comics as an 8-part series called Moonstruck, with CCAD Associate Professor of Comics and Narrative Practice, Lauren McCubbin, as editor. In Spitball, students get to collaborate with professional writers to create comics put into the Spitball Anthology, which the students then get to market and sell at conventions. Moonstruck is about a barista named Julie, who also just happens to be a werewolf. And on the other side, you'll see Logan Schmidt. Logan Schmidt's nature and wildlife aesthetic has attracted commissions from musicians such as the Dave Matthews Band, the Abbott Brothers, Old Crow Medicine Show, Van Morrison, and many more. Logan actually began reaching out to these bands coming through Columbus and offering to make posters for their shows. He is now an actual full-time freelance illustrator. You can even buy one of his prints at one of our annual CCAD art sales. Those will happen every semester. I'm going to pass the mic back over to Becca to tell you guys about some additional majors with us.
Thanks, Morgan. So this next group of majors is very much hands-on. If you're interested in creating personalized products, spaces, and unique messages for a global audience, then you might be interested in one of the majors listed here. Our interior architecture and design, industrial design, fashion design, and advertising and graphic design majors give you the opportunity to make all different types of really hands-on, tactile spaces in many different industries that you could be passionate about. And while at CCAD, our goal is to really partner you with real-world clients and industry professionals as a part of your classes. Recently, we took a special topics course all the way down to Chile to collaborate with a leather goods company called Citrana. And students went to the Citrana workshops, and every student in the class was able to create their own custom shoe. And then one student was selected to have their shoe design mass produced by Citrana. So that's just one example of students within their classes and within their projects already getting to work with real world clients. And then our advertising and graphic design majors do the same thing. Just this past year, they did projects with Huntington Bank, Keep Ohio Beautiful, and E&J Gallo Wines. So they do things like create layouts and packaging, do copywriting. They spend a lot of time on typography and branding, even things like web design, user experience design, and user interface design. Pretty much anything that combines images and type into something beautiful probably falls under the advertising and graphic design umbrella. And then again, all of the work that you see on the screen here is classwork done by students at CCAD. And so, like we were talking about in the last grouping, there might be some things that you expect to do with a design degree, and there might be other things that you had no idea about. So you could end up designing clothing, cars, costumes, toys. The skills that you learn here will help you be able to reinvent the industries that you're working in, whether it's apps or the fashion industry. There's so many different possibilities. And just one example of a student doing that, in the lower right corner, you see a little Tykes truck, and we actually had an alum who helped design that. His name is Chris Walter. He spent a lot of years working for Little Tykes. He helped design playgrounds and toy cars for kids, and then he ended up actually switching gears and working for Ford, so real human adult-sized cars, and he was a lead designer on the Ford Fusion. So with his industrial design background, he was able to work on two areas and industries that seem so different, but with the problem-solving skills and the design aesthetic that he's able to adapt to, he's been able to span a career across those seemingly different industries. And then a couple more alumni that we'll just profile quickly. Susanna Madrid is featured on the left. She won the CCAD Creative Entrepreneur Award in 2019 and is one of many CCAD alum that currently own their own businesses. After graduating from CCAD, she moved to Italy, to Milan, to pursue a graduate degree in fashion design. And while she was there, she had the opportunity to design shoes for Neil Barrett. And that's where she really fell in love with the design aesthetic, especially in Italy, where everything's so rich and well-designed and well-manufactured. So eventually she chose to launch her own shoe design brand. And so her shoes are currently sold online under her name at susannamadrid.com, also at a department store in Paris, and even locally in the Central Ohio area at Thread Boutique in Grandview, which is just down the street from where I'm at right now. So if you want to check out her designs, definitely hit up one of those places. And then Audrey Seaman is an advertising and graphic design graduate just from last year, who was super involved as a CCAD student working for the student agency, which designs all different types of marketing materials for CCAD and also outside clients. She also was the president of the AdGraph, as we call Advertising and Graphic Design Student Collective, that does all different types of fun activities for students in that major. And then while at CCAD, submitted a ton of projects to various competitions. So things like the American Advertising Awards, the Society of Communicating Arts Creative Best Awards. She won tons of Best in Show, Gold Awards, just from work that she did at CCAD, which is a great resume booster. After graduating, she interned at a local media company called Space Junk and now works as a graphic designer for Olive, which is a local healthcare AI company, just one of many interesting, innovative companies based in Columbus. So I'll pass it back to Morgan for our last set of majors.
Thank you so much, Becca. Now, for these next set of majors, students that might be more interested in discovering the conceptual practices of art, exploring a vast number of styles and even different mediums, all while becoming a cultural influencer, are likely to be interested in our last grouping of majors. So on to the next slide. You'll see that in our photography, film and video, and fine art programs, we teach you the rules of the game and then provide you the freedom to break those rules. So students have opportunities to challenge cultural conceptions, as well as devote themselves to an active artistic practice, as well as influence society. Columbus has an active art, music, film, and entertainment scene that provides students ample room to explore, as well as experiment in the real world with the skills that they learn at CCAD, all before they've even graduated. Founded in 1952, the Columbus International Film and Video Festival is one of the oldest film festivals, or is the oldest film festival in the United States, showcasing independent student and professional films from around the world. Presented by Columbus College of Art and Design, that festival showcases world-class independent films right here in Central Ohio. On campus, we have 4 different gallery spaces, including our world-renowned Beeler Gallery. The Short North Arts District also showcases homegrown and international talents, and the indie art scene thrives at an old converted warehouses like 400 West Rich Street or the Millworks and Art Studios. You can also check out the Vanderelli Room, a gallery founded by a CCAD alum that was named one of the 10 best galleries in Columbus by local news channel WCMH in 2019. Now, not to mention our next door neighbor as well, the Columbus Museum of Art, which features several permanent collections as well as rotating exhibits. Now, please note that entrance to the museum is actually free with your student ID, so insider tip. The work displayed here are all student work that's also been done in CCAD classes. So you'll see some digital photography examples here, as well as some more kind of installation, fine arts based work, and some video stills from some documentary films from one of our students as well. Now, CCAD and the Columbus art scene provides students with chances to network, as well as develop relationships with individuals within the industry. We know that when it comes to being a successful artist, it's not only about what you know, but also about who you know. So if you're a student that is interested in writing scripts, you should meet an alumni like Angelo Thomas, Film and Video 2020. He's an independent filmmaker, screenwriter, as well as novelist. His film, The Incredible Jake Parker, was released just this month and is based on a novel he wrote with the same title. The cover art you see here is by fellow CCAD student Casey Nwakadu, animation major, recent graduate as well. Now, maybe you're interested in making and selling your own art, in which case you'd want to meet somebody like Megan Matthey, the developer of the blown glass Happy Thought Bubbles, or perhaps jewelry designer Maddie Etter. Meeting the right people can really change the entire course of your entire career development. Now, these final stories are examples of students that were able to capitalize on the people and resources that Ohio has to offer. Jessica Phelps was named Newspaper Photographer of the Year by the prestigious Pictures of the Year International Competition for her work on behalf of the Newark Advocate in Central Ohio. The New York Times noted her winning portfolio, including a long-term project on an Iraqi family that was resettled in Ohio after the father had worked as a translator for the United States military. The story, which followed their journey raising their 3 children as Americans, but with an appreciation of their Iraqi heritage, also took place in the daily life picture story category. Phelps is a native of Ohio, and after traveling throughout Italy, South and Central America, she moved back to Central Ohio and started freelancing for her local newspaper, the Newark Advocate. When a full-time gig opened up, she applied, got the job, and has been there for the past 6 years. Now, Jake Mason Macklin was recently accepted to the prestigious Skowhegan program It's an intensive 9-week summer residency program for emerging visual artists. During his time at CCAD, Jake was really interested in the expansion of his hometown of Columbus and focused primarily on the use of found objects as well as large installation works. His thesis consisted of patchworking large found scraps of tarps printed with construction advertisements for luxury developments around the city. Now, these students were able to take advantage of what their community had to offer and pair it with what they've learned at CCAD. These student partnerships with different communities and alumni are a really important aspect of developing an artist's career. That is why CCAD strives to maintain corporate as well as community partnerships with outside organizations. I'm going to pass the mic back over to Becca.
Thanks, Morgan. So yeah, as I kind of touched on before, it's really important for us to give students real world opportunities while they're at CCAD. So this past year alone, students worked on 24 different community projects across 28 different classes, and that affected about 380 different students. They worked alongside corporations like Airstream, the big metal trailers that you might have seen on the highway, Cardinal Health, which is a healthcare company based out of Columbus, This One Dress, which is a fashion nonprofit, and Madison USA, which is a fashion company based out of Columbus as well. So our students did things like redesigning furniture for families in need. They told veterans stories through animation, film, and podcasting. They even did things like reimagining what an operating suite looks like at a hospital. Students developed branding for an academy in Somalia and did public art for Columbus's electric car infrastructure. And a lot of times organizations will work with our students in these projects and then end up hiring them as interns or full-time employees after they graduate. We also have a really helpful career services office. So that office can help you with things like one-on-one career counseling. They bring employers to our campus through our Recruiting on Campus series. So we've had companies like Pixar, Under Armour, Fisher-Price, for example, and they'll come to do networking events with our students and even do interviews as well. And then they also update our job board, which you have access to even after you graduate. And that has all different types of creative careers for you to look through across a variety of majors. And so these types of opportunities really show the benefit of attending an art school over a more traditional university with an art program, because that is a question we get asked a lot. You know, why should I pick a private art school when I could just go to a more standard university that has an art major? And really the focus that we have is all art and design, almost all the time. Like I said, you do have liberal arts classes as well, but if you really want to have the time, the resources, the experienced faculty to pursue the creative career that you want, then an art school like CCAD might be a good fit. And so if you take a look at the numbers on the screen, this was a survey done by SNAP, which is the Strategic National Arts Alumni Project. And so you can see the numbers there kind of speak for themselves. About 91% of all art and design alumni who responded to this survey said they had an overall positive experience in college. And then the big one that we get asked about always is job placement. So about 80% said their first job out of college was related to their major, and 88% said they are satisfied with their current work. So it just goes to show that if you know you want an art and design career, then a place like CCAD is really going to help build you into the kind of artist that you want to be to get that career. And then these are just a handful of the places where our students are working as we speak. And the great thing about this is if you have a particular industry that you're interested in for an internship or a full-time job after you graduate, you can count on our alumni network being at these places and hopefully excited to help you potentially fill their shoes or work alongside them. And our career services office can always help connect you with alumni in certain industries as well. So I'll pass it back to Morgan to kind of wrap us up.
Thank you, Becca. So while there is a lot going on in the city of Columbus, there is also a bunch to do on campus as well. And we want you to have your own authentic experience at CCAD. So one of the best ways you can do that and have a one-of-a-kind experience is through our different student-led clubs, organizations, as well as our student government. There are a variety of groups to choose from, and you can be part of more than one. Many students choose to join a student collective, which is a group based around each major, gathering students from all years for fun events, extra practice sessions, alumni speakers, and casual hangouts. Another one of my favorites is the Battle Games Association. They stage elaborate LARPing, live action role-playing battles on the quad. And the quad is kind of that big open space on our campus. While organizations are a huge part of your time as a student, there are some other student life resources that are super important as well. First of those is our on-campus housing. We have 2 on-campus housing options. Most all of our first-year students live in what's called Schottenstein, which is a traditional suite-style housing, meaning 2 rooms with 2 students in each room, a shared suite bathroom, and small common area. After your first year, you are able to live off campus or move into our upperclassmen dorms. This is called Design Square Apartments, which is more of apartment-style living. Some other important resources to note while you're at CCAD includes our advising office. These are the folks that help you schedule classes, creative coaches, another part of our peer tutoring program, as well as the Counseling and Wellness Center, where students are able to receive free counseling sessions and also work with the Learning Support Office. This is a resource that provides accommodations for students with learning differences. Now, are there any campus resources that we haven't covered that you're wondering about? Just ask us, one of us admissions counselors. Now, while campus is great, we also have a virtual option for first-year students. This is known as our online first-year program, or OFYP. First-year freshman students may opt to take a completely online curriculum for their first year at CCAD. So whether you're in another time zone, sharing a computer with others in your household, or have health concerns that mean an on-campus experience just isn't right for you right now, you can still access our rigorous and engaging curriculum online. In addition to major specific courses, our online course offerings will give you a solid foundation to your success as a student and in the professional world, with instruction that will cover key learning areas such as drawing, visual literacy, and contemporary art and design. Now, not to mention, you'll also take math classes that will help you in the future as an entrepreneur, and those writing classes that will help you tell your story and that of your creations. I want to talk as well about some of the next steps. So for my seniors, look at the upper half of the screen, and for my juniors, sophomores, and freshmen, there will be some pertinent information in the lower half. So seniors, if you're interested in attending CCAD, our admissions office would love to connect with you. Right now, we are offering virtual appointments, tours, and portfolio reviews via Zoom. So now is definitely a good time to start finalizing that portfolio of yours, which is required of all CCAD applicants. Your portfolio can feature any type of creative work that will tell us a little bit more about you, whether it be paintings, drawings, photography, sculpture, fashion, characters, illustration, and even writing. Another great way to get feedback on your portfolio is by attending a National Portfolio Day. NPDs, as we call them, are chances to get free 15-minute reviews from a variety of art schools from all over the country, and CCAD will be in attendance to dozens of those events this fall. Check out the CCAD admissions event page for more information. And once your portfolio is all set, that's when it's time to apply. Now you can apply online through our website or through the Common Application starting in early October. 2 main deadlines to keep in mind. The December 1st is our early application deadline, which guarantees you an admissions decision before winter break. And we also have our February 1st priority application deadline, which would automatically make you eligible for all of the merit scholarships and those considerations for the scholarships that we offer. Now, the application also requires a short essay, about 300 to 500 words worth, and an official transcript with a GPA. Now, all 3 of these parts are equally weighted for admission, and CCAD is test optional, so we don't require the ACT or SAT scores. The last super important step is to file your FAFSA, also known as the free application for federal student aid. As we know, higher education really loves those acronyms. But the FAFSA determines your eligibility for federal as well as institutional grants, basically known as free money, and also serves as the application for multiple federal loans. We recommend that every student file a FAFSA to be considered for need-based grants as well as federal loans. We also offer our merit-based scholarships, and just by submitting your application, you are automatically considered for those, so there's no need to apply for merit scholarships separately. So just like with admission, your merit-based scholarship is determined equally by your portfolio, essay, and GPA. Now for freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, you still have some time before you apply to college, but a lot of this can apply to you as well. It's never too early to connect with our admissions office through a virtual appointment, and now is a great time to start developing and organizing that portfolio of yours. We'd also love to see you at a National Portfolio Day, and we recommend you look into art-related pre-college programs to continue to build those skills. Now, while we would like to help answer what questions you have today, we may have run out of time, and I just want to make sure you get the help that you need. So do consider in kind of making sense of some of these questions of college options and preparing your application or portfolio. If you haven't already, please go ahead and scan that QR code quickly, fill out a little info about yourself, and we'll follow up with you soon. So we also wanted to provide you some contact information in case you have additional questions and you don't necessarily want to scan anything today. But I believe we prepared a handful of some common questions that we usually get asked that we'll kind of wrap up with Becca as well.
Yeah, so we just have like 10 more minutes here, so feel free to pop any questions in the Q&A on the Q&A button if you do have any. But I know one of the big things that I get asked a lot by students is, can I double major? So while it is definitely an option to you, typically it'll add a little bit of extra time onto your 4 years at CCAD, and it also adds quite a bit more work, which not to say that that's a bad thing, but we just ask that you work with your academic advisor if you're considering double majoring, and they can kind of help you build a plan, but it's most common that students do one major and one minor. And then one thing I think, Morgan, you could maybe talk to a little bit is the portfolio component. So I know that tends to kind of freak students out a little bit. So what are some kind of general tips you would recommend that they keep in mind when preparing a portfolio?
Well, I think kind of the main thing to consider is building a portfolio is just that. You're still in the building stages of making the portfolio. So I wouldn't get too caught up in thinking, oh, I have to have it just right, or it needs to be perfect, or this many, that many. Quite often, there's a lot of places you can start pulling from to start building what the foundation of that portfolio might look like. So what I'd kind of say is, let's look at 3 categories. First being, what classes have I been involved in? Now, if I want to study animation, that doesn't necessarily mean that I've taken an animation course, which is perfectly all right. Maybe you've taken a drawing course. Maybe you've taken ceramics. Perhaps you were lucky enough to get some AP portfolio time. Whatever that class is that was somehow creative and you made some visual work, you can pull some of those examples from, and that's somewhere to start pulling together and start building the portfolio. Second category, let's look at the sketchbook. Are you keeping up on a sketchbook today? Are there some class assignments through that you've been sketching? Or do you like to sketch in your free time and people watch and just draw different ideas from your head? We totally like to see those kind of in progress pieces as well. And you can use those to apply to CCAD as well. We don't really have a set beyond the kind of 8 to 15 pieces that you'll include in the application for a final portfolio. So we're pretty open when we say we want to see different mediums and see a lot of your originality showcased in that. Now for the third category, think of places where you've made art that are not in class and not in your sketchbook. So maybe you did a project for your mom's friend's company and you designed the logo. Maybe you did the brochure for another, somebody's business they're starting up, or you designed the menu for a new cafe in town. So wherever that might be, or some personal work. I know that now that we're in October, a lot of students are working on Inktober or Drawtober. You can totally use those drawings as well to start building your application. So I think essentially with the portfolio, just get in touch with one of us admissions counselors, because I know this can sound like general advice, and we can give you more specific answers to tailor the best portfolio that's for you as an applicant.
Awesome. Thanks, Morgan. That's really helpful. And yeah, I think he hit the nail on the head at the end, where we just really want to help you put together the best application, which part of that is the portfolio. Because ideally, the better application you have, the more scholarship money you get, and that can help you come to CCAD. So it's a win-win for all of us. Plus our whole admissions team, we have art backgrounds ourselves. So I have a graphic design degree. Morgan has done fine arts and printmaking. So we are as passionate about art as you are, and we want to help you kind of find the same path that we found into the art world. So just to kind of wrap it up in our last couple minutes, I was asked this at my last presentation and I thought it was really fun. So I'll answer first, Morgan, and then you can think of your answer. But what is your favorite way to spend an afternoon in Columbus? And I'm interested to hear Morgan's answer because he's a transplant to the Columbus area from the Pacific Northwest. I am a lifelong Ohioan from Northeast Ohio, but I've been in Columbus for about 6 years. And in addition to CCAD, which is obviously my favorite part of Columbus, I think my favorite way to spend an afternoon is hitting up a farmer's market. There are tons. There's one on Gay Street, just down the street from CCAD. But basically every little neighborhood around central Ohio has a farmer's market. And then there's tons of metro parks as well. So if you like hiking and like getting outdoors, you can pretty much bike your way across Columbus or hike your way through, like, I think there's hundreds of different miles of trails in Columbus. So some combination of farmer's markets and hiking would be my answer. So do you have something ready, Morgan?
You know, yours sounds so active and healthy. Mine's going to be so food oriented. So immediately I was thinking about German Village, which is this really lovely part of town that's just about maybe 5 minutes, less than like 5 minutes from campus downtown. And German Village has a lot of really great history to it and a lot of great food. So I would really recommend Katzinger's Deli. You can get some matzo ball soup and a big sandwich, maybe a big Reuben, but you can also hop on over to our personal office favorite, which is Brown Bag Deli. Again, it's all going to be food driven, and maybe just to, you know, ward off the kind of hunger that happens from that and the sleepiness, head on over to Stoff's for some great local coffee. And then maybe wrap it up with the Book Loft if you want to go look at a really beautiful bookstore that it's just rooms and rooms of books. So if you like reading and all sorts of different books, the Book Loft is probably for you. And I'm talking like floor to ceiling books. You kind of have to, like, you know, squeeze through some of those book aisles there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I cannot wait for the weekend to do all those fun things. But yeah, the great thing about our location is we are right downtown. So Morgan's right. German Village is just 5 minutes away. All the different fun things are walkable or a short drive. So I think that kind of wraps it up for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, if you have any other follow-up questions, admissions@ccad.edu is a great place to start, and we'll pair you up with one of our admissions counselors. But we're really excited that you're interested, and we hope to connect with you soon. So I'll go ahead and pass it back to our facilitator to wrap things up.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. When you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback that you could provide. Also, this was just one of many sessions being hosted this fall, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions at IACAC.org. In about a week, you'll find a recording of this session on the website IACAC.org. Thank you for attending, and thank you to our presenters. Have a good afternoon.